When I'm sea fishing on holiday, it's no different to when I'm coarse angling at home, in the sense that I like to keep my gear made up and ready to go. And of course, when you're on vacation, it means that you're not messing around at the water's edge. You can get there, put everything together, put your bait on and cast out in no time at all. I did this on arrival, however, I had a tangle on session 2, so I thought, great opportunity to put things together again while we're still in our holiday home before I venture out, and of course show it on camera as well. There's the rod. It's a telescopic rod on this occasion, and the line, first thing that I will thread on there is a bead. The bead is rolled on the floor, hence the pause there in the filming, but I'm back on track. Before I actually start to put it together, let me just show what I've got. Got a float. That's a small, simple float, which is great for the conditions in the early part of this week anyway, because it's reasonably flat. Simple fishing off the rocks. I've got some power gun and a small bullet lead, small round lead there. And there's the trace that I've already tied. In fact, this was already in use on the previous setup. There's a swivel, the line, and on that occasion it's a size 1 Aberdeen pattern hook. So size 1 or size 2 hooks, that's what I usually go for when I'm wrasse fishing. Very, very simple approach. Now, what do? Where's the bead? Oh, here it is. Thought it had rolled off again. Put the bead on like so. Then the float. Usually goes through okay. Sometimes you have to be prodding it a little bit, but that's okay. There's the float. There's the small round lead, and that goes straight down to the swivel. I'll tie just a simple knot. I usually go for blood knots, half blood knots, that sort of thing. When I'm fishing, that's my go-to approach. It is mono, so I'll wet it in the way that we anglers do. Saliva. So you don't get any friction when you tighten up. I'll just cut the tag off there. Not too important, but just a centimetre, well, less than a centimetre of tag on that now. And then I'll get my power gun and I'll get a section of that, and above the bead you can see I'm just putting that flush with the line there. Then while I'm keeping my thumb and forefinger on the bend, I'm going to wrap that around 4, 5, 6 times. Make sure I've got the end, and there's the loop that's been created by my thumb and forefinger. Push that through the loop, tighten up, and I've got a power gum knot. And this is very important for this kind of fishing, and I'll leave all that tag on as well because it'll be visible in the water. This is important for this type of fishing because what will happen is I will cast out and the lead will sink, and then the bait will waft around enticingly below it, and then as the lead sinks it will take the float to the bead and the power gum knot. But because I'm fishing the sea, there's tide coming in, going out, so the depth varies. Plus of course you want to find where the fish are anyway, ideally just above the kelp and the rocks in this case. If I'll start off with probably 9-10 feet of water, or 9-10 feet of depth in front of me into the water. If that doesn't work, I'll move the power gun, really simple, so you've got extra few inches on the float. If I'm finding that I'm getting caught all the while, on the aforementioned kelp and rocks, I'll drop it. So I'm fishing shallower. That doesn't do any harm whatsoever to the mono, and it's nice and tight. It's not going anywhere, just a gentle pull, and you've got that set in place. And I like the bead because the bead and the red power gun means that it's visible in the water, because sometimes you cast out, especially if there's a slight chop, you float there and you don't know how far away you are, because that's sunk, the lead, and it's on the bottom somewhere. So what you want ideally is for that to cock, and by that it means that the lead has gone down, it's not on the bottom, you've got a tight line and you've got that at the top. Perfect. That's the theory. It's worked so far. Let's see if it works this evening as I make my way to the rocks on another glorious Anglesey evening. And finally, before I do set off to go fishing itself, there it is. How easy is that? I can carry it there, bring it back, put it in the shower as well. That's always important after each sea session, because your gear does get rusty if you leave it exposed to the salt water. Hose it down in the shower afterwards. But for now, I arrive on the rocks. There's the hook, just caught into the bail arm there. I'll take that off, thread the rod together, let some line out, put a ragworm on this occasion, cast out, and I'll be fishing. And I will be back with a wrasse. 4 or 5 chucks in, and I'm not a blanker. Second fish, and it's much bigger, much livelier. And I found there, it's on the bank stick and it's wedged into rocks and it's wobbling. So I'm not sure how well this one will come out. But definitely got a wobble to it. However, there's the fish. That's the important thing, isn't it? Beautiful. I think I've used that word many times so far this holiday, and no doubt I will use it again before I depart back home. It's resting in a rock pool there because I've just weighed it, and it is the biggest wrasse of the holiday thus far. Day 3, and there's still more to come, and hopefully bigger fish as well. They always head to the bottom when you return them wrasse, and although it's not that deep there, it is a rock structure, as you can see. I can't see the fish. They are well camouflaged. They are well camouflaged. They know where to hide. I'm catching mostly corkwing this evening so far. A few ballon though, and as I often say, particularly when I'm getting a few out the water, I'm not showing everyone to the camera. Some nice fish putting in an appearance this evening. Another ballon. It's windy, it's wobbly, but that is another fantastic ballon wrasse. I've extended my PB for the week yet again, and I weighed that like I've done with the others that I've mentioned in terms of respectable size. Certainly a respectable fish. Beautiful.